Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
Spring is here. It's time to start thinking about family fun in the outdoors. This is Chris Williams promoting my good friends at Plaza RV in Bondurant. I've now bought 2 travel trailers from this locally owned company in the past 5 years. It's completely changed my family's life. We love spending time in the outdoors, tailgating, and most of all, being together. Camping has been an awesome escape for us, and I would encourage you to think about it as well. Head over to their lot in Bondurant. They have motorhomes, travel trailers, truck trailers, fifth wheels, and more. Check them out today at PlazaRV.com. They're 100% locally owned. Tell them that Chris Williams sent you. Hello and welcome to Williams and Blum Wednesday. It is May 1st. Where is
May.
Did you bring me a May basket?
Nope.
Do you remember back in the day? Like I would actually chase girls and try and kiss them.
What?
On May Day. That was a thing.
No, it wasn't.
Aiden, did you do that when you were a kid?
No, that seems problematic.
No,
That is frowned upon. No,
That's assault, brother.
yeah.
No. I went over when I was a little boy.
May baskets where you put somebody on the door, you beg on the doorstep, and you don't kiss people.
You would do it, and then the person would try and catch you, and if they could catch you, they tried to kiss you.
Never heard that.
I bet you.
We did the baskets, but we never did the.
Yeah, no, that was the
part.
thing in Clarendon.
Some weird stuff down there.
Will you Google that, Aiden, and make sure that I'm not like completely? I'm telling you that was a thing in the 90s.
You got set up by somebody. I don't know who it was.
We are presented as always by Mechdyne. Joey's watching on YouTube. He says you can't do that in today's society. No, I'm not. I'm saying this was in the 90s. Different world. We are presented as always by our friends at Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation. We are in the Wild Rose Casino Studio here in Ankeny. Good to be back in here. As we try and do most of our Wednesday shows here, not a lot happening, which is a good thing. Bloom, is the portal is closed, and it was a fairly newsless situation here in at Iowa State, at least. Go. No news is good news.
Yeah,
this is the portal's done. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, I feel actually very, very happy for continuity all the way. I would guess, and it'd take a lot of time to figure this out. I would guess, though, Iowa State's the only power school that did not lose a starter in football, men's basketball, or women's basketball to the portal. I bet they're the only one. I mean, I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head, which just is pretty cool, to think that's that. And they're all 3 programs are really good, which helps for sure. But even some of those monster SEC schools had starters jump in one sport or the other. And the fact that Iowa State got through this relatively unscathed and actually added on both the women, and it's not over, by the way.
Explain this real quick. There's a little bit of confusion.
Yeah, so it's over to enter the portal. You can still add people. And so women's basketball will still add a couple folks. Football's still going to add a couple of folks, I would guess. Men's basketball's.
I'll have a premium update on football today. By the way, I've been working on it, and there are some prospects, and that should be up hopefully by noon.
But it's now there's nobody entering the portal. So the fear of losing one of your best players is over.
Rocco Beck can't go in the portal today.
He cannot, unless some lawsuit and who knows what could happen to challenge that. But yes, no, it's pretty awesome how Iowa State got through that with where we're at with all this stuff. And kudos to Cyclone Nation for what they've done. It's not only the NIL support seat up, but it really is the entire big picture. It's showing up to the games. It's, being friendly with the folks when they're out in the community. It's just showing love in general. I mean,
making it feel home.
Right. It all adds up. And but it really all starts and finishes with the Iowa State administration, but mainly the coaches. I mean, Campbell, Otzelberger, Fenley. Without those 3, it'd be hard because they really do. I mean, we've got just a rock solid stable of coaches. Although I got to tell you this real quick. I was on a call the other day, and I was talking to we're helping volleyball out with some camps and things. So I was talking to Kirsty Johnson Lynch, who's awesome. And I was like, oh yeah, portal's almost done. Can take a deep breath. She's like, well, our portal opens May 1st. And I was like, no, coach.
Brutal.
Why? But yeah, it was very pleased.
Is that like, how much is NIL in volleyball?
I'd say it's getting there on the high end.
So like,
you're
there's real NIL and then there's pay for play. Like, how is
Texas and Nebraska and Wisconsin are definitely spending.
Yeah,
they are building,
and they're the best 3 programs by far.
They are building out elite teams through the portal.
But like, I don't know enough about the others, but I do know that Nebraska like fills up their arena for volleyball. Like they get a lot of, they get Wisconsin a big crowd. Really I don't know if they're profitable. I have no idea about that, but
it's what I would say is volleyball's not. I'd say volleyball's 2 years behind the other ones. So
which we saw women's basketball was like a year and a half behind men's basketball, which was about a year behind football.
You got it.
So it kind of goes by your revenue.
Yep. And that's
I would venture to guess some softball.
There's some. Like Oklahoma's probably spending a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Yep.
Oh, we want to get that ace pitcher.
And then Nebraska actually spent a bunch to get the gal from Oklahoma back to Nebraska, and then she got hurt. Was that Jordan Ball, whatever her name was? She was the best player in the country. Anyway, it was a good month. So thankful and grateful and all that good stuff for everybody's help, and we'll keep on trucking along.
Well, it's not good for everybody.
No.
I thought we'd spend some time today.
Man, going through some of these football rosters, it is nuts.
And this is why, I do the preseason magazine stuff, and it's just really impossible to make real analysis on these conferences in May.
It is.
You pointed out to me last night the situation going on in Tucson, which is a new Big 12 program. And like, this is why if you're the guy who's tweeting at me to fire Matt Campbell after the Ohio game, I mean, this is the type of stuff you've got to think about now. Not that you didn't always, but so Arizona, they're on the upswing, right? With Jeb Fish. And they were going. They're getting, and we're looking at them in the middle of October, knowing that they're coming to the Big 12, and we're looking at Arizona saying that's a dark shot to win the league next year. Like they're going to be picked in the top 5, almost for sure, is the way that program was ascending.
In the Big 12, right?
Yes. Fish gets the Washington job. And you were pointing out to me the number. Tell everybody about their roster situation, because that will make you very appreciative of what Iowa State has at this point.
Yeah, so they've added about 8 guys in the last 3 days, and they still have 18 scholarships open.
Wow.
So they were down to 54, 55 scholarship players at one point 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
How do you that's below FCS level stuff. And there's some good players in that number, but your depth is ultimately gone. So what they've had to do is, I would say, to take some complete flyers on some guys that probably don't belong playing in the Big 12, but they need to fill out their roster. And this is because Fish left. It opens that third door really for somebody else to leave. And they probably only have, not much more beyond their starting depth chart for quality starters in the Big 12. So that's a team. If you look at them, their win total is like 8.5. I'd be super careful. New coach. The starters are
that's terrifying.
The starters are pretty good.
Yeah, but they're even going. I don't know. The Pac-12 was pretty good last year,
but
I think league to league, you're going up. I truly believe that
day
without
in and day
being
out.
a homer.
And more physical too, I would say.
I mean, the Big 12, we got to be real. They were losing the 2 biggest programs as far as like size, physicality, recruiting.
Yes.
But when I look at the Big 12 teams that are left, so it'd be 10 of them, there's really not bad ones for the most part, right? Like I feel like that's going to be we're going into the parity era of the Big 12.
I totally agree. Yep.
Where it's just like, okay, so Baylor has been down.
Yes.
Under Dave Aranda the last couple. They've been down. But would it shock anybody if it's like, oh, they jump back up? They're private. They've got a lot of NIL. Like,
They won the thing.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
It's like Kansas State could just jump up out of nowhere and be in the playoff. And Iowa State could, I think. We've seen.
If you look at the win totals, it's K-State and Utah.
Yeah, and that's probably
at 9.5.
That's fair. what I would. So what's Iowa State right now?
7.5.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly where I would put Iowa State at, and I would probably take the over.
But some of these Pac-12 schools that are Utah's stable, super stable.
They're really good.
Yeah, they're going to be really good.
And they're always going to have the consistent recruiting because of that base that they have over there.
Arizona State, though, is short on numbers. I think Arizona and Arizona State and Colorado are all for a long year this year.
At what point do we consider that maybe Deion isn't cut out for that?
I would be considering it in January, like this January.
So did you read the Athletic piece this week?
I did not.
I would highly recommend it. It was published like 2 days ago.
Can you give me the Reader's Digest version?
I will. And to full disclosure, I'm only like halfway through because it was one of those really long.
Yeah.
And I fell asleep. The Reader's Digest version is they went through and they tracked all the players that Deion has run off.
Okay.
So like there's like 55, 60 guys, something like that, right in that range. And they talked to a lot of them about the process and like really just how cold it was. And
he was just cut, just literally like,
now in Deion's defense, he went in there and told everybody what he was going to do.
He didn't lie to him.
No, his bosses hired him to do this. But I do think that this is a lesson in one, you can't treat it just like you would a professional franchise. You can't. It's not the same thing. And frankly, I don't think as long as these things are tied to the university in some capacity where they have to be in school and they have to have a certain GPA, because even if these are club teams, I think that's the way it will still be, where the starting quarterback could be totally but he still has to be enrolled in class. And
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that.
We're not going to have 36-year-old starting quarterbacks.
No, the point is they're still going to be kids.
Yes, it is tied to the university. I guess my point with the Deion thing is I think he vastly overestimated what 15 to 20 guys could do for a Division I program. And he's got 15 to 20 really good guys. Like, there's no doubt about that. His son, all those players are studs, but he ran off so much of his depth that even if these guys maybe aren't cut out to play in the Pac-12, which a lot of them weren't, they weren't very good. It's hard to go at it with 50 dudes. Well, it's nearly impossible.
Look how they started the year, and then what happened as the year went on.
And if you look at it, while he's doing fine, I still see the same problems next year.
No doubt.
Yeah, it looks similar to me. What will happen at Colorado?
I think and then the thing with Deion, I think he's running into is that prisoner of the moment impatience. He let go of a really good offensive coordinator in the middle of the year just because it wasn't going great. And then
it wasn't the coordinator's fault.
Well, and I think Iowa State's a good example. Honestly, both of our programs in the state, continuity in college football is so important because it allows you to build depth and it doesn't just create upheaval all the time. Now, there are programs who have done really well. USC had the 1 year where they brought in all that talent, went all the way and made it was the Sugar Bowl against Tulane. They did a nice job. But you need, especially to Colorado, when you're not bringing in 60 dudes every year, you better have a base that you can rely on. And that base starts in the trenches. And that's where the Colorados and the Arizona, they're just going to get buried because once they get an injury or two up front, it's over. And that's why I really like Iowa State. I think underappreciated is pretty good depth. Now, I say that realizing the offensive line at Iowa State is always a question mark. But from a numbers perspective, it appears to me Iowa State has 8 to 9 guys that would be fully capable of playing at that level. What Colorado ran into is they had basically 3 offensive linemen. One of them got hurt last year, and then it was just chaos.
And you're playing for a coach that doesn't necessarily appreciate the big guys, it feels like.
And then have the patience to just let somebody develop too. I mean, he basically told some of his guys well, you're not good enough yet. You're gone. I'll find somebody better. Well, you can't do that when you have offensive linemen that need 3 to 4 years to develop.
Some of these guys who he cut, he didn't even cut them. He would have like an assistant coach do it.
Yeah, and I think Aiden, can you pull up
the real on this? It created like the returning guys versus all of Deion's guys.
Totally.
In the roster, it was split, and they like hated each other.
They didn't like each other.
Yeah, because these guys thought you know, it was really fascinating because I was just thinking about like the way Otts and Matt like run the show. But this player who got one of the guys who got cut, so you have to take it for what it's worth. He's disgruntled.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Yeah. So it's let's be fair here.
He did get cut.
But like it's all about like discipline and like this military like type of atmosphere. And then Dion's son has like a documentary crew like for his YouTube channel following him around the facility. And it was like a circus. They're like, we couldn't even focus.
It's a reality show.
Yeah.
It's a reality show that's.
And Dion has his film crew too for that documentary series on like Amazon or something.
And so the question I would ask if I'm a Colorado fan, because honestly, the first 5 weeks of last year, they were the belle of the ball.
Oh, remember they were on the Fox kickoff
they
like
were
every week?
12. They were selling out everywhere. Even the spring game last year, they sold it out. Interestingly, their spring game this year still did pretty well. I mean, I think they sold it out last year at 49,000. This year it's 28,000.
It's not bad.
But, you know, when you're around long enough, that sizzle wears off.
No doubt.
And I don't know. I don't think Dion planned to be there for 8 years anyway. And so my opinion here, he is trying to just cash in. And he's got a big platform at a big school now, and I can get more attention that way. Do you really think Dion has the goal of being there for 8 years and being a 7 to 9 win program? It's either gonna go crazy high, which it's not, or it's gonna crash. And I think we're headed towards the crash.
It goes to the old saying, like sometimes you appear smarter when you just keep your mouth shut. And now he's gonna have a harder time getting these other jobs. And like what NFL team? It's like, well, watching you get beat by 50 every week, right? And like you didn't manage that roster. Could you manage? I do think he would fit better in the NFL, but
yeah, I don't think
if you go 3-9 2 years in a row at high major, nobody's going to look at you.
Nope. I think he
probably should have just stayed at Jackson State for a few years and won some FCS titles and then moved on.
Well, and then the fact that doesn't help him is he's replacing coaches left and right too. He's getting impatient with his coaches. Like, who's going to want to be there anymore? And that's the problem. And once his kids leave, his kids are really good. I mean,
no doubt.
He's a potential first round pick. We'll see.
Really good.
But I don't know. I think Colorado got what it wanted, and that was attention, and basically revived their program from the dark ages. However, it's not. I don't know if it's ever going to work.
Can we have a breaking news sounder, please? Like, Aiden, can you just give me something for breaking news? Anything. Thank you.
It's pretty good.
That's not bad. Live from the Wild Rose Casino Studios. Ed tweets at Chris M. Williams. You are correct. We used to try and catch females and kiss them when they delivered a May basket to your house. That's Ed Forsai on Twitter. And then Nautical Wheeler. Yes, in Story City, we did the same thing for May baskets in the 1980s. We would try and kiss the girl when you got or gave one.
Never. Nope. I don't believe it. I mean, I believe
Aiden has breaking news on Wikipedia, I believe.
This is on, I'm not sure what website this is. Oh, NPR, of course.
Oh.
Will you please read it for us, Aiden?
In some communities, hanging a May basket on someone's door was a chance to express romantic interest. If a basket hanger was, don't know how to say that word, by the recipient.
I've never heard that word in my life.
The recipient would give chase and try to steal a kiss from the basket hanger.
See, it wasn't ever about interest it was literally if
Just trying to get some action.
If somebody from the opposite sex gave you a May basket, you chased them. Again, this is early to mid 90s. Okay. So don't tweet. I'm not trying to offend anybody here.
Maybe
this was a thing.
Maybe that was my problem in college.
I'll never
showing
forget
up May
one time
interest.
I did it to one of my friends, and she like, and this is before I gave any crap about the other gender. Okay. She's one of my like best friends, and I took a May basket to her house, and I'm not kidding. This girl chased me for miles. I was like panicked because my parents were watching. I'm like, oh my God, what if my parents see this girl kiss me? She did catch me. And she was faster than me, bigger than me, and she beat me up.
Did she beat you up, or did she?
She tackled me and kissed me.
She gave you some loving.
It was on the Clarinda Boulevard. I'll never forget it. It was a very traumatic day. Let's thank some of our sponsors here, our friends at the Ivy College of Business. Thank you for the coffee mug, by the way. I use this all the time here at the office.
Sturdy mug.
We are starting a new podcast series for the summer with our friends from the Ivy College of Business. I'm excited about this. We'll invite you to a couple of these, Blum, because you've really been with me since day one and ground zero of all this Cyclone Media stuff when we were at scout.com.
Yeah.
Going all the way back there, and then the creation of Cyclone Fanatic. I'm going to try and get our old friend Jeremy Lin to come in for one of these. And we're not just the business of Cyclone Fanatic, but just the business of the evolution of college athletics over the last 25 years or so. That'll be a summer podcast series that we're going to do with our friends from the Ivy College of Business. Also want to give a shout out to Kelderman Manufacturing. They're big supporters of us here on Cyclone Fanatic. They also support We Will. They are having their big Kyle Petty motorcycle ride coming up on Monday. I will be there from 1 to 3 in Oskaloosa. So if you're down in Southern Iowa, you want to come and say hi, don't come to see me. Come to see the greatest racer of all time, Richard Petty, 200 wins, 7-time NASCAR Cup champion. He's going to be there. His son, Kyle Petty. Bunch of media people in the NASCAR world because they're coming up from Kansas.
They'll be there.
Yeah.
Who's a media person?
Rick Allen. He's the play-by-play voice for NASCAR on NBC.
Okay.
He's my old broadcasting partner.
You told me that once.
He's the old PA voice. They called him the voice of God.
Who?
Rutledge Wood. He's a sideline guy for NASCAR and NBC.
Who's the media superstar in NASCAR right now?
Superstar?
Yeah. Is Gordon still around?
No, he's like running Hendrick. I would say it's probably Dale Jr. He does podcasting and stuff. He has like his own, kind of like what we do with Cyclone Fanatic. He does with NASCAR. It's like this independent deal where people just commentate and stuff. And I would say Dale Jr. is probably the biggest.
Is Dale Jr. going to be at Kelderman?
He will not.
Okay. Well,
at least if he's going to be there, it's unadvertised.
There you go.
At this point,
it'll be Joe Dirt Car is going to be there though.
The Joe Dirt Car will be in attendance, and I'm going to get my picture in it. I may even see if I can get Kelderman to let me spin it around Oski a few times. So yeah, that's 1 to 3 is when that event happens on Monday in Oskaloosa. That it's a cool thing. They've raised millions of dollars over the years for it's fighting autism in children.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. Kyle Petty
Kelderman is just one of those guys. It's like,
he's a bit of an enigma in a great way.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, who would go and buy the Joe Dirt Car? Kelderman would. That's the one. Real quick, Nicholas wants to know. He says we need an update. Is Bloom going to Kansas Speedway? Your wife was pretty ticked off about all the tweets.
She was not real pleased.
I mean, I was really disappointed in Crystal.
I thought she'd take it a little bit better.
I knew you weren't going.
It's not over yet, buddy.
A member of the football coaching staff, can't make this up, was listening to the show. Text me, will Bloom actually go to Kansas? And my response was absolutely not. There's no chance.
It's not over yet. It's only Wednesday.
Oceanfront property in Arizona.
I'm a fundraiser for a living. I'm very convincing. Just give me time.
From my front porch. Hey, in theory, if you guys got a sitter, just take the boys to Nicholas's house and Crystal can come to the race on Sunday.
We don't want that.
I'm just saying, if you come down Sunday morning,
that's not a
or even Saturday night, you guys could have the bunks. When that trailer's rocking, don't come a knocking.
Dale Jr. is going to stop by, though. I don't know what that means.
I don't understand why people have to be jerks. Brant says, how does one fight autism? We raise money for kids with autism. It's pretty simple. I don't know why you have to be a jerk about it, Brant. Like what? Peed in your Cheerios today.
You know, David, speaking of Joe Dirt, David Spade has a fascinating movie career. He's 60 years old now.
Dude, yeah, a lot of these guys.
Oh my gosh.
We were talking about George Strait the other day. He's 71. We're gonna go watch him.
You got real goofy on this is Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider.
Oh, like he's like hyper political now, right?
Yeah, but like just kind of looks weird now too. Not says me, Mr. GQ over here. But
no, like anyway. he made the news. He's like getting canceled.
Well, he's now doing like low end comedy clubs.
Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo, one of the great movies in history. I'm serious. That movie was whole. I've watched that movie probably 50 times in my life. Aiden, have you ever seen Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo?
No, but this.
Oh my God.
What do we do?
This sounds exactly like you have the weirdest taste in movies of all time.
We're watching it after the
Hey.
show. We're gonna put it on here in the studio while we work.
Here's what I know about Rob Schneider. I would like be Joel Embiid compared to that guy. He's a tiny man. 5'3". I would post him up so quickly. My goodness, give me the ball.
Also want to thank our friends at the Iowa State University Foundation. MoveWhatMatters.com. You can give all year round to our friends from the foundation. I like to give to the marching band multiple times a year because without the band, we met the band director at Size House of Trivia. It was amazing. I got my picture with him. I needed to post it. I'm going to go and speak to the band during their fall camp. I'm going to get them all amped up because they are the pride of Iowa State University. And without the band, game days would suck. And I truly mean that.
So speaking of the
horrible.
band, no,
That's why I quit going to Vikings games.
I've got some quasi-breaking news.
Oh, wow. Hey, sounder.
The band and the foundation. I believe this was announced last week, or maybe it was 10 days ago at the Iowa State Foundation governors meetings. The governors are all great people. They kind of decide some decision-making, the direction of the foundation. Anywho, the band, I believe, is actively now going to fundraise for a band, potentially band-only facility on Iowa State's campus.
Wow. Elite.
With a synthetic surface, so they don't have to go on in the muck
field when they
or they don't have to go to Bergstrom.
Our turf guys are. I want to get a turf guy on a show. Like really, I want to talk about the turf.
Sounds like a great CW pod.
Do you think too? I guarantee Iowa State fans would eat that up.
There's no doubt.
They would just eat it up. They love the turf.
Now is a great time because I heard the turf guys, and again, generalizing here, not happy about George Strait, just like I'm not.
Why'd you pay $300 for a ticket? You still owe me for that, by the way.
I'm excited.
Still haven't paid me for that.
They're upset because they're going to ruin the field.
They're not going to ruin the field.
Well, that's why you need to talk to them.
It's in May 25th. You guys have got 3 more months to fix that field. Come on. Let us have a good time.
Hey, this is inappropriate, but I'm going to say it anyway. If that field handled the former offensive coordinator at Iowa State, it's going to be okay. The big fella.
What now? I'm sorry. I was reading. We have this Brant guy is really ticked off that we're raising money to fight autism.
I said
he's really upset with us.
If the field could handle Mark Mangino, it can handle a stage.
Now we need a
yeah, thank you. It reminds me of one of my favorite.
Mangino's getting a chapter in the book, by the way.
Good. A sentence from a media member who said to me at one point, "Oh, look, it's Mark Mangino. He's at the 33, 34, and 35 yard line." That's again. I don't mean to be insensitive, but he's the one who said the fat lady singing when Paul Rhodes got fired. So.
I would have never said a negative public word about Mark Mangino had he not openly taunted the players and coaches he had been working with for like a year and a half. He openly, players that he coached and mentored, was taunting them as they had one of the worst losses in Iowa State history. Changed everything for me, coach.
I agree. And again, never had a problem personally, but 8 years later, still fun.
That was the most classless thing I think I've ever seen when he was during that Kansas State game.
Maybe the most bizarre 72 hours of an Iowa State history.
Oh, yeah.
Between that game, the ensuing.
Well, because you thought Iowa State was winning.
Oh, right. they were running away.
And Rhodes' career is going to be saved.
He was going to keep his job.
Yes, if they win that game.
That week.
And then
that week deserves that needs a chapter. Because Matt was hired the following Thursday. Like that went fast.
Yeah, and then like the thing was too that it was such a bad loss. There was you couldn't keep him if you're Pollard. Like there's no way.
Nope. It was over.
Because it was negligence on the part of that they didn't have the timing. It was really bad luck. I mean, if you're Rhodes, because it's like just hold on to the ball.
Man, That's one of those. It's never that story is going to get more legendary by the. But thanks, Mark.
Okay, so that was basically our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment because we did the Big 12. We want to talk about uniform gate.
Are we announced yet?
Let's refresh
Cyclone
the page one more
football.
time. It's
Nothing yet.
9:30.
Nothing.
We should have really timed this around the uniform release. So I have a pretty good idea. I tried telling you guys that basically it was not an April Fool's joke on April Fool's, that there are updates coming. I'm a Formula One guy. I wouldn't call it like new uniforms. We're not getting a new car. We're getting an upgrade.
Do you know? I haven't seen them.
Yeah. So, well, I haven't seen the entire, like what it's going to look like, but the stripes on the
sleeves,
that's real.
That's real. Yeah.
So that's coming. So they also left the one that was blank and it looked like there was an error on the screen. They did that.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a new uniform coming. That is a new combination that we have not seen at Iowa State. And I have a suspicion. I do not know. Nobody has confirmed this to me. I think it is an all white with black trim for like a road game, like a road version of the, but I don't know that. So we'll see. I was hoping that we would get something with the black, no gold, black, red, and white, like completely get gold out of the uniform, wipe it out of the school color.
I got to give a shout out. Hey, Aiden, pull up my guy, Joe Summers. It's at Joe Summers.
Oh, Joe's great.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Very talented. And he put out I think is a very educated projection of what these uniforms could look like until we know better.
Joe's sharp.
Joe should be a consultant.
So that white one right there is what I think we're getting.
Yeah. So you're right. That white one with there we go. So it's on the screen. If you're listening to this, find YouTube.
Yeah, watch us on YouTube.
But so this would be the home uniform, which would be again some stripes on the sleeves
I
now.
love it. I think it's sharp.
More of no stripes on the pants. Based on, I like that. That looks nice.
Give us the black version there.
There you go.
See, that's what I think we're getting.
I like that.
Something similar to that.
I like the Stormtrooper look,
which would make sense to have a road version of the black and white.
Yep. I like, because you could wear that on the.
And for some reason, to me, the iState logo pops way more there than it does on Cardinal. That's just my opinion.
I agree.
I would get rid of like that helmet we have behind us. I would make that matte all the time. Make it a matte Cardinal.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to remember they did the glossy or the matte?
Don't you remember? This was
the Liberty Bowl?
The epitome of the Rhodes era. We got a giant press release that they were going to have a matte Cardinal helmet.
Yeah. So
it's like that's Paul Rhodes' version of switching up the uniforms, because Paul was just and he was very open about it. I love we used to go rounds about this, and when I turn on the TV, I want to see it's Iowa State, and I get it. Like this is a very old school way of doing it.
Iowa State had the single worst uniform combination during the Rhodes era. It was the 20. I remember it vividly, like it was yesterday. In fact, Matt Campbell was on the field. It was the 2014 game against Toledo.
Gold?
It was gold on gold, and it was absolutely atrocious. Absolutely. I don't know why Matt Campbell still wanted to come to Iowa State after seeing those uniforms on.
That was when we started getting the Ronald McDonald comparisons.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was full blown. There we go. Look at those things. Oh,
but Connor Ferguson, who works for us here, does a great job covering recruiting and women's basketball and football for us. He thinks those are like the greatest uniforms Iowa State has ever.
Am I old? I don't. I thought I was like, I think EJ Bibbs, if memory serves, like his uniform got torn up that day. Anyway, EJ Bibbs is a really good player. I just thought
probably an underrated player with Iowa State.
I did not. Some of the uniform combinations were like, what are we trying to do here? Although Aiden had this graphic, I have a strong nostalgia for the 2000 uniforms with the bone, the bone collars.
So that was back when Florida State did that, and they had the spear.
The spear, yeah.
And Iowa State had I like those.
They were. It was an eye, but it
how
was.
Dope would it be if we went with the black or the white and black, and then a little cardinal bone clone right there on the just a smidge.
How about this story? Some of the young folks may not know this. So back at I think it was Donnie Duncan. So when you
A lot of people like the gold in the comments.
Really?
Yeah, I can't believe it.
One of you season clones remind me. Iowa State for the Iowa game. I want to say it was like 80 or 81. A couple of the players wore different colored helmets.
I'll be damned.
During the game,
really,
to like signify either like captains or maybe they were from Iowa. I don't remember the whole story. But they came out with these different colored helmets, and then Iowa completely embarrassed them, and then those never came back.
Was that the year that they wore the Beat Iowa jerseys?
Maybe it was the same year, or there was
that was like 77. That was the first year back after they took that hiatus.
Was the Beat Iowa jerseys?
Yeah,
but there was one year where they wore different colored helmets for some players during the Iowa game, which I've never heard that before or after that.
I'm telling you, the majority of people watching our show live like gold.
No, they. Not gold.
I would completely do away with gold in the entire scheme. Every sport, wipe it off the planet.
Good. Fine, Aiden. Look at that. Like a couple of the guys had gold helmets.
That's
and
sweet.
I don't. Why? What are we doing? Whose idea was that?
That picture hits hard though, doesn't it?
Look at that 40. Was it 48 with a monster face mask? I mean, face masks were legendary.
I love that logo. I mean, I wouldn't want it like all the time now, but that's cool.
I do like that logo.
That's a
really
cool logo.
I'm still of the belief that Iowa State, with the tornado situation, should use that more. But what do I know?
What they've done game day with the siren is so good. It's the best marketing tool Iowa State has ever come up with in 25 years since I've been around. They need to lean into it more.
Siren. Did you see?
We need more siren and more thunder and lightning strikes. Make it feel like a freaking storm in there, like an actual storm.
I'd be scared if I was. It's like windy, dark. Like,
we need to lean away from the cardinal in all capacity, like the bird, which is fine. It's the mascot. Like,
sigh.
The freaking it's like a damn severe storm in Jack Trice and Hilton. Picture this: Hilton Coliseum. Kansas is in town. Place is nuts. Lights go out. It's completely black in there. And we have simulated lightning and thunder and around the ribbon. And it's just flashing. And then how badass would that be?
Yeah.
Night game at Trice. Same scenario.
Get those LED lights that pop on and off.
I'm telling you, man. Iowa State marketing, if you're watching, I love you. You guys do a great job. I will consult for free, and we will make the best entrance in college football. You don't need to pay me a thing.
They're looking for an on-field host now. Did you see that?
Yeah, I can't do that.
See that?
They would fire me in a week.
Yeah,
because then I wouldn't be able to be critical at all, and they would all get mad at me.
Yeah, I'm curious where that goes.
I don't want to. Yeah,
here we go.
Aiden should do it.
It was Kreiner. It was not Duncan. I apologize, Donnie. Jim Kreiner instituted an award helmet instead of merit decal. ISU's helmet at the time was yellow with a red stripe. The award helmet was a red shell with a yellow stripe. Bring it back, Coach Campbell. Somebody gets to wear the white helmet.
When they would drive that helmet around the...
Yeah.
We need to bring that thing back, too.
So I have an idea. It's been brought up several occasions. I've actually working potentially with a company to bring back a helmet car to drive around the lots. Yeah. I'm serious.
That'd be dope.
Throw the We Will logo on there and drive around the helmet car. Ask people for money in the lots. Might be happening.
Don't ask to fight autism because it'll piss everybody off. God. All the things I thought I'd run into today.
Gold. So what we learned today, everybody, people like gold. Apparently you would hang a May basket to make out with somebody.
You don't make out with anyone. You run them down, tackle them, and kiss them. There's a difference.
And what are we doing to autism then? We're
fighting it.
We're not fighting it. We're
raising money to combat autism.
But combat would be a fight. Raising money to
we're fighting autism.
Understand autism?
In my opinion, fighting autism is okay, this kid has autism, but we're going to get him the best treatment possible to fight the autism.
I think most understand that.
But this one guy doesn't. He's very upset about it.
And
He's very upset.
And Dion's going the wrong way.
Thank our friends from Gravitate Co-working, gravitatecoworking.com. I'm sure they'd love to be a part of this conversation.
We are officially in the off season.
The portal's closed.
This is great.
The portal is
closed. So free.
I've had this. I said this to your wife the other day. I was walking the dog. She was outside. I think it was your wife. Some woman outside of your house.
Okay.
No, like it feels like seriously, trace back to NIL starting. Okay.
Yep.
It feels like we haven't had a downtime since then, because at the end of last year, you have gambling probe.
Yep.
Ongoing realignment, transfer portal, all that stuff.
Yep.
The summer never chilled. There was no chill at all.
Did not.
And then we have the season hit.
Yep.
And now like portal season is almost more work
in December, which got you right into basketball.
Yeah, and then like basketball portal season's insane. Basketball goes really long because both teams are good. Wrestling is top 5. And then we're just getting over this portal. It feels like this is the first deep breath in this industry in a really long time.
Maybe since COVID. I think it might be.
COVID was just crazy because we're wondering if we're going to have jobs tomorrow.
And yet we say it's calm, and then you've got potential settlements coming down the pike.
Yeah, it's like any week. And then you also, if you've been paying attention to the reporting that Ross Dellinger's been doing on the college football playoff, like, I mean, I'd love to be able to read these Big 12 contracts and stuff to see. I'm really glad right now. I don't agree with everything Yormark has done or is doing. I'm really glad he's the commissioner right now, because and Bowlesby was in a totally different deal. You were playing defense. You had to keep Texas and Oklahoma happy, which really pisses me off. These Texas fans that are just shitting all over the Big 12. Like, you made this bet, and whatever. That's a whole other podcast. But I think a guy or a gal in charge who is going to be a shark and play offense is imperative right now, because this now, Brent, is a race between the ACC and the Big 12. The Big 12 has one more dog to beat out.
Yep.
The good thing is I believe that the ACC has much more poachable prospects than the Big 12 does.
Agreed.
But for the Big 10 and the SEC, I think that we're going to end up with 3 20 to 24 team leagues here, and it'll be the Big 12 or the ACC that ends up living. My guess is, call it right now, May 1st. My prediction how it goes down, much like the Pac-12, you're going to get Yormark's going to go and prey on Pitt, Louisville, like those tweener type schools, like he did Colorado and the Four Corners that weren't going to get Big 10 SEC invites.
Yep.
And he'll get them to jump before the Florida States and the Clemsons and the North Carolinas can make their move. And then they go into the Big 10 and the SEC. That's my prediction how this plays out.
Yeah. I think that's what you forget about those schools. Everyone's talking about Florida State and Clemson.
Correct.
But those other schools,
just like everyone was talking about Oregon and Washington and USC and UCLA, the other schools have to find a home, and they're selfish too.
All it takes is their votes count the same.
Yes.
It's gonna be interesting. By the way, real quick, my friends down in Florida sent me this note, and I apologize to Jim Kreiner. He had honor helmets for all games, not just the Iowa game. So I would argue they didn't work for the other games either. For coach,
I would make the argument that in some capacity, I think your uniform matters. It's like when you're going into an important meeting
it feels
for work, if you dress nicer, you're going to I told my daughter this on the day she has to do speeches. Hey, will you put something other than sweatpants on?
Yeah, you want to feel like, you want to feel good.
So I think that it matters in that sense, but I don't think that because they wore the bugle helmet against Texas that year,
the Trice uniforms are really cool. I still think there's something there with the Trice uniforms from last year. Just my 2 cents. But yes, as we get older, I become less concerned with uniforms. I would be freaking out if this was 10 years
shows
ago,
our age.
15 years ago. I'd be like, oh my gosh, what are we doing?
It just shows our age.
I remember.
I mean, I love those stripes. I think they're really cool.
I lost my mind in 1990. I remember it like it was yesterday. In 1999, the Big Peach came out on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
which is the old Des Moines Register sports section for the youngsters.
And it was the first time I saw the dog collar uniforms for Iowa State. It was like 99 when they debuted. I was like, oh my gosh, those are the coolest things I've ever seen. Now I was 13 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sleep for like a week. So excited for football season
Yeah.
after that. But now I don't really. Good for them. Rocco, as long as Rocco completes passes and whatever he's wearing, I'm happy.
What are we going to shoot for 70% completion percentage this year?
So
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Mauser's he more or less told me we're running the air raid. So kidding, by the way. All right. I think we're good. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate our presenting sponsor, Mechdyne. As always, they do so much for us, and we are very grateful for that. Go out and pick yourself up a bottle of Cody Road bourbon, Irish cream liqueur.
You bring those
and
down,
also,
down to Kansas City?
I will bring a bottle of Cody Road. I have a special 10-year rye that I'm going to take down there. And then I'm going to bring a bunch of that Westo beer that you brought me.
Yeah.
That the pale ale with the pineapple is one of my favorite summer beers.
Soaked.
That's really good.
Yeah, very good. And then so you can get their beers. You can get Ames Lager. Ames Lager is the one that helps the collective. But
of course. Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of their other beers are available in many stores as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff. They do it. Their cocoa stout, I believe. I saw. Didn't the Register do a beer bracket, and the cocoa stout got like second?
Always at the top.
It's one of the best beers in Iowa.
And then one of my favorites is their red, which
I might bring a few of them. I have the one special one you gave me.
Yeah,
I think I might take that down to the camper.
I'm still efforting. Don't count me out yet.
You're not counting.
Don't count me out.
All you and your wife need to do: drop the boys off.
I didn't think about.
You buy wristbands and just come for the race.
If I buy a wristband, can I get it? Can I make it down to the the camper?
Yeah, but you'll have to pick it up. Well, we can have this conversation off the air.
Just don't work gold.
But I need to know because I got to go shopping right now. I'm just buying food for me.
Sorry, I don't eat much. It's okay.
Oh, you're gonna want to eat at the race. It's
true.
Cinco de Mayo on Sunday, so I'm gonna make fajitas for whoever stops by, which will just be me.
Are you gonna hang a May basket?
If you come, you should bring Aiden. He should experience the NASCAR race.
I think me and Aiden probably have the same theories of these things.
Yeah, we'd have the same experience, I think.
Yeah. I had a buddy yesterday, another friend that I invited and isn't going. And he's like, so what? He's like, I really want to do this with you someday. What do we do? He's like, you just get hammered and watch the races all weekend? And I'm like, well, yeah. We stand on top of the camper, and every time the cars come by, we put our beers in there and go, woo!
America.
It's a good time. No, it's awesome when you camp in the infield because they got concerts and stuff at night. Honestly, it's very similar to the RV Village in Iowa State.
You don't have to convince me. Like, I'm in. It's just now I got to use my fundraising tactics on my better half. Let's see how successful I am.
Or just let her come down. I'd rather have her.
Well, it'd be more fun anyway.
Hell of a lot more fun. All right. He is Brent Blum. Thanks to Aiden Wyatt for his sound effects today. Appreciate that. Nice addition to the program. And we will be back. I doubt it on Sunday, to be honest with you. We will find a time to bring you our social media pages and we'll let you know when.
And look forward to those uniforms, everybody.
Looking forward to that.
I wonder what they're going to release.
For Brent Blum, Aiden Wyatt, I'm Chris Williams. Have a great one.